Welcome back to the first ever videoed tunnel vision talk. Thank goodness I did not say Titans tunnel vision because that would have been a hassle to redo. So
Mhm.
today, it's not Saturday or Sunday, so we're not doing our usual mock draft, but we got a little something special for you guys on this Thursday night. So I have a list pulled up from Sneaky Sports Podcast. Great podcast. I recommend all of you guys go check them out. It's the players under the most pressure this season. We got 10 players here. There's four quarterbacks out of the 10. No, five quarterbacks. My apologies. But I like the list. It's very evenly dispersed because you could honestly put 10 quarterbacks on there, but
Mhm.
he did a good job putting like players you wouldn't really think about.
Right.
A lot of second year players on the list, a couple of third year players too, but should be a good list. And I'm ready to kick it off if you are.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Let's start.
All right. So the number one player on the list, which I agree with fully, Daniel Jones.
Yeah. So Daniel Jones to me is in a tough situation as of the starting job for this year. Obviously, he's their starter this year. They're not looking at another quarterback, but this year I feel like is a make or break year for him. They're gone out. They've got him weapons, and to me, it's like we're going to get you all these weapons and it's your time. I mean, you're going to prove it here. I mean, Saquon's coming back. Um, I mean, he's more set now than he has ever been in New York. So I think if he doesn't prove himself this year, I think it could be time for a new quarterback.
Yeah, because you look at the additions they've gotten this offseason. They've gotten Kenny Galladay. They've
Yeah.
gotten Adoree Jackson on defense. They retained um, Dexter Lawrence.
DeMarcus. No, yeah. Sure. I think it's
Leonard
Dexter.
Williams. Wait, no,
Leonard
that's not.
Williams. What in the
They,
world?
they traded they traded Dexter for him.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they got John Ross.
Yeah, they got John Ross.
So
So I mean, you got deep threats. Your defense is solidified from last year.
yeah,
I
he's
mean,
got solid.
with the addition of an edge rusher or a linebacker in the draft, your defense is looking great. It's all
Exactly.
up to Daniel Jones to make plays on the field, put them in the playoffs. I think in an 8-win season would be progress.
Mm-hmm.
I still think that they want a winning record, 9-8, with
Yeah.
the addition of the 17th game, which I'm actually interested to hear your thoughts about that real quick because I know we've talked about like Alvin Kamara not being too happy about that.
Yeah. So to me, and to be honest, I don't hate it. And I understand why they all hate it now. But I don't hate it. I think it's good for players like Derrick Henry,
Yeah,
records wise. Whether they'll associate that under another category of in the 16 game era or whatever. I don't know how they'll work like records out like that. But to me, it's like and I think you really want to talk to me. It's like it's one more game to get injured. It's one more. There's more possibilities of this. There's more possibilities of this. Blah blah blah. But it's like, I mean, other than it being like, and here's the thing. I heard all but one team agreed on adding another game, and I don't know who that other team was. But I mean, I don't know what you think. I honestly am. I'm not against it. I like the addition of it, and it's a home game, so I'll get to see another home game. So
I mean, I like it because we get to watch more football, but at the same time, I know where the players are coming from because they just see it
yeah,
as the owners voted on this because the owners want more money in ticket sales, concessions, parking, all of the above. Like
mhm.
they see it out of greed and like you're putting more people at risk of getting injured just so you can make more money in a season. Like, but at the same time, I mean, this is going to be the only time that Bears fans are going to be able to watch January football in years because they're not making the playoffs.
To be honest, I
I
think it
mean,
was the Bears that were the only team that didn't vote because the headline that I got a notification on was Allen Robinson was the picture of it. So that's a possibility. But and I could see that as I can see where you're coming from with a money standpoint, and it being kind of like the owners or the front office, they don't care about us.
yeah,
They just want money, which is understandable. And it's gonna go either way, but most people don't like the addition of it. No.
Yeah. So back to Daniel Jones. I think we basically covered him in saying that if he needs to just be smart with the football, get
Yeah.
it to his playmakers. You're gonna have a healthy Saquon back, and you have hopefully Kenny Galladay healthy for all games this year. He struggled with injuries last year, I know, and I mean that Lions team last year was just struggling with
Yeah.
injuries, which brings me to the next player on the list, which is Jeff Okudah. Jeff Okudah was a highly sought after prospect in the draft last year, drafted number 3 overall out of Ohio State, and didn't really live up to the expectations last year. I know he was injured a bit last year, but I mean he still played most of the games, but just didn't really have a great impact.
Yeah, and I see that as I didn't follow him as much as other players, but for his draft, I guess like how high he was drafted and how much hype was added onto him because of that. It was kind of disappointing to see that he didn't really have much of a year at all. Like, I mean, the Lions defense was still
Mm-hmm.
the Lions defense was still not very good. So, I mean, and it could come with he needs some extra help there. And like you said, he was injured a little bit of the year, but I don't know. I feel like to be drafted 3rd overall, you need to have some type of production in your first year, and he didn't have that, as opposed to Chase Young at 2 and Burrow at 1, who before he was hurt was on fire. So
Yeah, I mean, with the losses that the Lions have had this offseason, with Trufant gone, Justin Coleman gone in the
yeah,
secondary, you're gonna have to look for him to step up and really make sure that the Lions know that he's going to be a building block on that defense that they can count on. Because, if he goes out there and he's getting burnt every game, not a whole lot of pass breakups, then they might look to just get rid of him so they don't have to keep paying him that number 3 overall pick salary.
right,
Like I mean, at this point, it's about what kind of money he wants to be making
yeah,
because it's a lot cheaper if they just go ahead and either get rid of him now or just go ahead and decline his 5th-year option.
yeah. And to me,
Like,
it's like it to me when we're talking about a list of like most approved players, I don't think here is essentially like his make it or break it year. I think you could still have a couple more years of stay there, like you said, 5th-year option. There should only be a 2nd year, so it's like he still has time to turn that over. But like you said, salary is a big play in there or a big factor because of. I mean, you're not going to pay somebody that's not. You know, I mean, it's just logic. But like,
yeah.
I think he does have a couple more years to prove. But yeah, being the third pick, you got to have some type of production, or it's you're gonna be on the list. So
Yeah, and speaking of another high draft pick, drafted at number 2 overall in 2016, new Indianapolis Colt, Carson Wentz. This is a guy who I expected to be on this list just when I read the title of it,
yeah,
because I mean, you're coming to a team that has top 5 O line in the NFL. I mean, you have the best O lineman in the NFL, in my opinion, with Quentin Nelson. I mean, you're coming to a team that has a great backfield with Nyheim Hines, Jonathan Taylor, Marlon Mack coming back off of that injury that he suffered
yeah,
last year, keeping him out of the season.
crazy
You have
con.
you have the same receiving core that Rivers had that he brought to a playoff game, and Pittman, Hilton. You got Mo Alley Cox, Jack Doyle.
Maybe they add a receiver in the draft.
What's his name? Paris Campbell.
Yeah,
He's going to be looking to break out in a big way this year to help out that Colts offense. But I mean, your defense didn't really lose much. Justin Houston's gone, and
yeah,
Denico Autry came to the Titans. But that's really the only thing I can think about in terms of what they lost on defense. Obviously, they lost Costanzo on the offensive line, which they will feel. But Carson Wentz has to put up another good year like he was putting up in the 2017 season. 2017 when they went to the Super Bowl, which he didn't even win. It was Nick Foles. So I feel like we really haven't seen Carson Wentz. Like we've seen glimpse of what he can do, but we haven't seen like what he's capable of over a full season.
Yeah, and I understand where you're coming from there, which is what most people are gonna say about him. It's like you can bash him all you. To me, it's like you can bash him all you want. But at the same time, we haven't seen a full season from him since he's been in the league, and it's like I feel like it's a good spot for him on this list as of like you're going to a team that is best scenario right now for you. So it's like if you're not going to prove it right here, you're not going to prove it anywhere else. So I mean, obviously there was bad relationships with Doug Peterson. There was, I mean, he wasn't able to stay in Philly, so it was like go somewhere else and improve yourself. So I think he does have good like dump off running backs to throw to if so he doesn't get hit.
Mhm.
Um, and I think he's got a good enough O line where he won't get hit that much. So injuries is going to be very slim to me, or even getting hit at all. So I think if he's gonna produce, he's gonna produce here. And I honestly I believe he will. Um, I like Carson Wentz potential. I'll say that just because of his what we haven't seen in the past, but I know it's there. So
Yeah. I just feel like at this point in his career, this is a make it or break it season,
yeah,
not
100%.
just not just for a roster spot on the Colts, but just a starting role in general. If you go out there and you can't perform with that talent that you have,
Yeah,
um, I mean they don't have Jacoby Brissett anymore either, because he went to Miami, as I think we talked about in our last podcast. But
yeah,
like you don't have a good backup to fall back on. Like it's all about you now, big boy.
yeah. I mean,
So
I'm pretty sure they have like Jacob Eason. Like,
yeah, which we haven't really
I
seen much of him. Um, I mean, did all right in college, but I don't think he's
just think
starting caliber.
he's in like Mitch Trubisky situation.
Hmm.
Um, he had Mitch Trubisky had probably one of the most underrated receiving core last year. And couldn't throw to him. So I mean, he had Darnell Mooney and Allen Robinson, but I think the Colts have a decent receiving core right now. It's nothing great, but it's definitely something you can work with. I mean, Rivers did it, like you said. So I I
Yeah.
I, I do think it's a make it or break it year for him. Yeah.
So the next two on here are receivers. I think this one is under a lot more pressure than the other because this one is a veteran. He's been in the league for a while. He's known really just for one catch, and that is Odell Beckham Jr. Since he's come to the Browns, I I feel like a lot of people are like underrating him and like
Uh
how
huh.
good he still is, but at the same time, after his ACL tear, the Browns performed better with him off the field and just relying on Jarvis Landry than when he was on the field.
Hmm.
I think that if he comes back and they start going back to like the old Baker, because
Yeah, like mediocre. Yeah.
at this point, is even if Baker does bad, I feel like people are gonna look at Odell, even if it like necessarily isn't his fault, but they're gonna be like, why'd you ruin a perfectly good offense that was working while you
Yeah.
were gone? Like,
Yeah.
because I still think he's a great route runner. Um, he can make a great catch whenever you need him to, as we've seen in his career.
Mhm.
It's just kind of like he has to do good at this point. Like if people don't see a 100-yard game out of him, they're like, oh man, this guy's washed.
Yeah, and that's what you're gonna get when you become one of the most popular people in the world after
Yeah.
you like I mean that's what everyone's going to look at you for that and that only and they're going to say well he doesn't perform that like that anymore. But I mean I think I do know what you're saying, and I know people were even saying this like during the season last year when he got hurt he was out, and like Donovan Peoples Jones comes in and I mean he just absolutely tears up, and it's like they produced I mean undoubtedly better than when he was there. They had a solid, great O line, great running backs. Baker was playing like better than I've ever seen him play before. So it's like to the point where if Odell does come back, or not if he comes back, but when he comes back and if he doesn't perform, I think honestly he's gone.
Yeah.
Just because that's what the front office I think is going to say. Like, I mean, like you said, you come back and this offense is all of a sudden, not good again, and it's like, well, ship him off somewhere. I mean, you could get a decent trade value out of him. So,
I mean, he's at the point where you could still get a first-round pick out of him.
100%, yeah, and more probably.
Yeah. Here's a guy who was on a team whose quarterback, I personally don't think that they're good fits for each other. And this was a rookie last year, Henry Ruggs. I don't think Derek Carr's the quarterback for him. I mean, I think he can throw the ball far. Just like in that Jets game where like the Jets had like 8 people and he threw it up to Ruggs, like he still underthrew him.
Yeah, he had to slow down.
Like I feel like Ruggs is gonna have to learn to adapt to Carr and like not like just jog on go routes, but like I think they need to give him better routes to showcase his speed, but at the same time let Derek Carr actually be able to make the throw because they don't have a quarterback on the roster that can make deep throws. Mariota doesn't have great arm strength. Nathan Peterman throws balls to the other team most of the time.
Peterman is Nathan Peterman.
I mean, he still is Peter Goat, but I don't think it's necessarily his fault. This is one of the ones I kind of don't agree with, just because it's not really his fault. He should not have been the first wide receiver taken in the draft last year. It should have been either Judy, CD, even Justin Jefferson. I was never really high on Ruggs coming out of college because I just saw speed and that's about it.
Yeah, I think it's to the point where whenever I was thinking of it, I was thinking of when you said Derek Carr and Ruggs aren't a good fit for each other. It was almost like I started thinking like, well, who is? To me, it's like I think it comes down to like Russell Wilson or Kyler Murray. I mean, Mahomes, yeah, but like
Mahomes and Allen.
Allen will be good, but Kyler Murray, I feel like, is a good fit for him too. Kyler Murray has probably, I mean, he's one of the best deep ball throwers in the game, I think.
Yeah. I mean, honestly,
deep ball accuracy.
You might not agree with this, but I think that Tua would be a good fit just because they've played together before. Yeah. Tua knows like when he got him. Like,
and that's part of the reason why he was taken that high. It's because I mean, obviously he showed him something that they saw in college.
Yeah.
Tua played with him, so it's like, I mean, if that option is there, I think Tua would definitely be up for that again. Yeah.
So,
but when it comes down to a make or break year, I don't think this is necessarily like make or break for Ruggs.
Yeah, I mean, he still needs a decent year, but like he still has a couple of years to like prove himself.
But yeah, like you said, I mean, first wide receiver taken, he wasn't worthy of that this year, which could also be the Raiders' struggles. But
all right, next should be. I mean, this list is in no particular order, but if there was, this is an easy number one, Cam Newton.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I don't think he should start anyways. I mean, the guy threw 8 touchdown passes last year. You could argue he didn't have weapons, but like at the same time, his accuracy wasn't the greatest either. I know that he was struggling with injuries or whatever, but I mean, now you've got 2 of the best tight ends in football with Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry. We're gonna miss you, Jonnu. We're sorry. And
sorry we couldn't pay you $50 million.
The receivers that they got are Patriots receivers. I mean, Aguilar and Kendrick Bourne, and you're still rocking with the same Edelman, Jacoby Myers, N'Keal Harry. Like
Jacoby Myers, he he's probably better than Kendrick Bourne.
Yeah.
And I honestly don't see their need for Kendrick Bourne. And I don't hate the Aguilar signing. It's
I
just
think it was an overpay.
how much money they how much money they paid him. And when you look at Cam though, and it's like, man, everyone's hating on me. Everyone's saying I need to prove myself this year. You guys go get me some bum receivers. Like thanks, Bill. Right?
Welcome to Brady's life.
Yeah, like Brady made it work. You do it. Like that's Bill's mindset. It's like we can get any receiver and it'll work. Oh, forget you, Cam Newton. Like it's not Brady anymore. And it's like Brady can make it work with any receiving core.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you give him a decent shifty running back, Brady can work it. That's not the case with Cam. Cam will run the ball all day, but he won't. He throws the ball in the dirt. So it's like the whole culture in New England has changed. You went from the most sit in the pocket quarterback the NFL's ever seen to Cam Newton, who is one of the best escape quarterbacks that's the only good factor of his game. So it's like I think $14 million is a little bit excessive. Especially if he'll start, but especially I just don't think he can do it. And I think he'll start this year. If I'm being honest, I don't think they draft a quarterback.
I think if a Mac Jones falls to them, I think they should. I don't know if they will.
They should anyway. I think they should anyway, but I don't think they will.
Yeah. All right, next guy on the list, we got Saquon. This isn't more ability based to me. This is more, can he stay healthy? Because to be a top 5 back, health has to be a big factor. Because he has all the talent in the world. He could be the number 1 running back in the NFL right now if he stayed healthy. I feel like that's what slowed down McCaffrey last year was him being injured, and that's why. Obviously, look at our hats, but that's why we think that Derrick Henry's the best back in football because he's able to stay healthy and he put up 2,000 yards. No other guy did that, and no other guy has done that since AP or AD, whatever nickname you want to use. But with Saquon, the one full game we saw him play last year against the Steelers, he had 15 carries for 30 yards.
Yeah.
If he
that was week 1, right?
It was one. I think it was 1 because 2 they played the Bears and then he got hurt.
I watched that game, the Steelers game, and it wasn't a good game.
And I think his success can relate to Daniel Jones' success too, because Saquon puts out a bad year. Daniel Jones is gonna have to put more pressure on himself to be able to make all the throws because Saquon can't do anything to help him out. So Saquon just needs 1,000 yards a year and to stay healthy.
Yeah, I think you pretty much covered it with. This isn't a skill-based one at all because we know he has all the talent in the world, but it's almost as you have to stay healthy, or it's not going to work. We're not going to pay you McCaffrey money, which he deserves, but we're not going to pay you that if you're not going to be healthy for our team. So it's you can't help if you're not on the field. So.
Yeah. So next guy we got up, we've talked about him earlier in this podcast. It's Tua. This is a good one to me because you could say he didn't really have a great team last year, but at the same time it's you had a great defense.
Yeah.
It was just Tua couldn't close out games.
Yeah.
You saw in really every game that he played in, they had to bring in Fitzpatrick in the 4th quarter because he couldn't close it out.
Exactly.
And now that they've gotten a Will Fuller, they're probably going to draft a receiver. Maybe even a Kyle Pitts, who ran a 4.44.
Yeah.
At his pro day, which is insane. Even picking up a Jamar Chase would help. He looked great at his pro day. You're probably going to get a defensive addition in the draft as well. So it's going to be all up to Tua. because I think that they could be a 12-win team with the addition of a 17th game easily.
Yeah.
But it just comes down to, can he play like he was playing at Alabama before the injuries? I mean,
Yeah, you kind of cut out a little bit there, but I heard you.
the O-line doesn't help because it's still not great.
Yeah.
But I think that they're developing and they're going in the right direction with that. So
Yeah.
it's strictly going to be on him.
Yeah. So, like you said, they went and got him weapons, which is what I love when you have a struggling quarterback. When your GM realizes that, and then he says, "Hey, let's go get him some weapons. Let's see. Let's help him out a little bit." And with having 2 first-round picks, you could easily go get, like you said, Kyle Pitts. With your second pick in the first round, you could easily do tackle, or you could go DN. You could even get a corner with your aging corners. But I feel like corner is a little bit deeper this year, so I feel like that could wait. But this isn't the draft. What I was going to say is, I feel like you go get a more big body receiver in the draft, or you get Kyle Pitts because of a struggling O-line. I'd rather you. I mean, you're getting put. You're gonna have pressure really fast. It's either you just snap the ball, you design plays that just roll out plays, or you sit there and you toss the ball up. And it's like, Will Fuller can do that. Devontae Parker is a big body. I feel like a Jamar Chase or Kyle Pitts is the best fit for them. But if they can get, if they can get some receivers and pick up their O-line, I feel like Tua can produce. And I feel like with Will Fuller, and then Jamar Chase or Kyle Pitts, that'll extremely help him. They could use a running back to lay off some of that stress, but I mean, I think Tua can do it. To be honest, I think he's a good quarterback. You did say, was it Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith said that they liked
Mac Jones better.
That could just be a preference thing to me.
Yeah.
But it could also mean something. But I don't know. I like Tua though. I think he can I think he can do it.
Yeah. So next on the list is a new Titans edition, Bud Dupree. So I like this one a lot because this is for a variety of reasons. One, our pass rush was awful last year. 2, can he produce without a TJ Watt alongside him? 3, he's coming back from an ACL injury, which is never fun. So he's got a lot of things that are against him, and he's got to be able to produce, or else hopefully we can get him off the books without paying him that much. Because we desperately needed an edge rusher, so we went out and we paid him good edge rusher money. Personally, I would have preferred a Hassan Reddick more. I mean, Panthers got a steal in him for 1 year, $8.5 million. Because, I mean, he put up like 13.5 sacks last year. And, like, I don't understand how he didn't at least make 10 mil. But with Dupree, I mean, we saw that he can be like a monster in the backfield, but it's kind of just like, can you be consistent?
Yeah, and I think it also comes down to, we've got him for 5 years. A make or break, prove your year, I don't think it's this year. We needed an edge rusher, and I think anything helps. To me, like, you go get a solid guy, and it'll help. Yeah. And you mentioned the TJ Watt thing, and I think you've got Jeffrey Simmons, Danico Autry, and Harold Landry with you, with the possibility of an edge, 2nd or 3rd round drafted. You've got a solid linebacker core. I think he can still produce with his D-line beside him that we have now, in Danico and Jeffrey Simmons alone. With Harold coming off the other side, I think Harold will produce much better. But I honestly think that Dupree. I do like Hassan Reddick, but I think Dupree is still the best fit. Okay.
Uh, Please get off.
I think
All
at least
right.
that wasn't a different picture, like some random picture.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's supposed to be the NFL Live thing.
Accidentally click on some random thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I
It's
think
like Golden Gate
I
Bridge
think
on there.
I think Dupree was a good pickup, and I think you could argue we paid him too much, but like
Yeah.
I said, we needed an edge. So I mean, you go out and pay somebody, it happens.
Mhm.
But I do think he will produce. And like you said, coming off an ACL is never fun. Taylor Lewan's doing it. If Taylor Lewan can do it, anybody can do it. So
Which hey Taylor, hop
join
on the
the pod.
podcast. I mean, we will spam you with the podcast link. So if I ever see you in the waiting room, just know I am letting you in.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that goes for anyone.
Yeah. Because this is actually working, look to see a guest come on in the next month or so, because we actually have access to do it now. So last guy on this list is, as I lost the list, but thankfully I remembered, Drew Lock, easily probably number 2, close to Cam in terms of pressure. I mean, you got Cortland back, you got Jerry Jeudy, who's performing well. Who'd they get on the O line? Okay, I'm gonna look up a depth chart real quick.
I know it's a weird name.
But you got Noah Fant
Yeah.
on there now. I mean, not now, but I mean, he's coming back. He's a great tight end. He's got speed, got size, and like I think he should have been under pressure last year. Like I mean, Garrett Bowles on the O line. You got Graham Glasnow, who's a good player.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, their right tackle is just like not showing up.
They don't have one. They just don't have one.
I don't know if this is updated, but Elijah Wilkinson at right tackle. Lloyd Cushenberry was a good pickup for them in the draft last year. But like we were saying, you have weapons in Sutton, Jeudy. You have Melvin Gordon still there. And like there's really no one behind you. So like it's up to you to make things work.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, on your defense, you're gonna have all of the boys back with an improved secondary, with the addition of Kyle Fuller, Ronald Darby, who had a resurgent year in Washington. You got Kareem Jackson back. You have Simmons locked up. You got Bryce Callahan. You got Alexander Johnson. You got a great D line with Chubb and Von Miller coming back. So I mean, the ball's in his court, because this is another team who could sneak in, grab a 6 seed in the playoffs if he performs well, like we were saying about Daniel Jones in the NFC.
Yeah, I think I've never really been high on Drew Lock from the get-go. I think he's a mediocre quarterback, but I did hear reports before right when the season ended that the Broncos were going to try to bring in a guy to compete with Drew Lock. Never happened, but I think that would have been a great idea to bring in a guy like Nick Foles, just to help, like a veteran presence to help that team, because that team I feel like still needs a lot on offense, to revamp, just to do something, and a quarterback would really help that. They have the 9th pick, correct?
Yes, 9th.
I feel like you get a solid. If you trade back from that pick, I feel like you get a solid return. And to me, this sounds crazy, but like you have Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Noah Fant. Who's their 4th or their 3rd? It's Noah Patrick, right?
Cortland, Jerry. Yeah, it's like Tim Patrick, Deshaun Hamilton.
Or Tim Patrick is good. So it's like you either go receiver like Jalen Waddle if he falls there, but if not, I mean, I feel like you could easily trade back from that pick and get like something big. I mean, a player is what I mean, not even like draft stock, but just players. But yeah, I think in terms of does Drew Lock have something to prove? Yes. Do I think it could stick with him just for the fact of he's a solid quarterback, and that's just to keep a solid quarterback there, not obviously interested in Super Bowls right now. So, I mean, do I think he could be gone after this year? Yes, but if they win 9 games, they win 9 games. I don't really see the difference there. But
so that was it for the list. I like the list a lot. Once again, credit to Sneaky Sports Podcast for that. And also thank you to the Slow Grind for helping us get this up and running on video. I know that you asked him about what he does. And plus he's just been a big help along the way of us doing this podcast.
Yeah.
So always thanks to him. And that's about all I got for this one. If you want to add anything, feel free.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad good grief. I'm glad we finally got on. Oh my gosh. I'm glad we finally got on Zoom.
Yeah, and this will be on YouTube. I'm going to upload this. So it's probably going to take a while to upload, but it's going to be on YouTube eventually.
Yeah, well, check YouTube. Check TikTok. I'm trying to get a series going on there just to try to get some type of following. It's not working right now, but just to do it. Go follow TikTok. It's all Tunnel Vision Talk. Everything is. But yeah, YouTube is going to be for every podcast. So yeah, I mean, it's going to still be on Anchor, still be on Spotify, still be on all of that, but yeah, go check YouTube because that's going to be new. Finally doing it on Zoom so we can try to get a little bit more following. But yeah, I'm glad we can finally do this.
And then once again, we're going to try and get not necessarily that, but we're going to try and get a guest on here. I don't want to speak too soon.
Right.
But hopefully we're going to grab a former NFL player because that's the first 2 people that I'm thinking of that I think we actually have a chance with. The third would be Taylor Lewan, which progress on that has not been going great.
Will Compton.
Yeah. Taylor actually reads my DMs. Like the one that I sent while we were doing a podcast, he actually did read. Do
you send him on your personal account or on the?
Yeah, on my personal, because that's where he reads. If I can get that to focus, yeah, seen.
Oh yeah.
Taylor Lewan.
Yeah.
So he is reading them.
Right.
I know I'm not crazy and just sending him random DMs, but maybe I'll be able to pull something out of the hat and grab a major NFL player. But if not, I got connections to a former national champion of the 90s that I can probably get on an interview. But
we got connections to a Arizona Cardinals D lineman. Name is not JJ Watt or Chandler Jones.
I think we talked about him before.
Corey Peters.
Yeah, but I mean, we saw him at a wedding. I was gonna say met, but we were both too scared.
I wasn't even too scared. I didn't even know who he was. Hopefully,
my dad told me who he was, and I was just like,
"Oh yeah,
wow, that's a big dude."
Yeah, I mean, I was told, but I didn't know. It wasn't even that big on football at the time, so I mean, it wasn't really big to me. But.
Plus, we had the Preds Stanley Cup going on at the time, which I have been doing a bit of Preds following recently.
Yeah.
I've been watching some of the games. I think we're finally above 500.
Yeah, we're like 18-17. I think we just lost, or probably about to lose.
I think we're 18-17-1. We're playing right now. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, we are. We're down 3-2.
Oh, that's not good. So that's all I got for this one. I'm gonna be going out of town soon, so I'm gonna try to grab a regular podcast, probably not on Zoom. So I don't think I'm bringing my laptop with me,
Mhm.
but I'm gonna try and do a mock draft either Saturday or Sunday. I don't really know how this is gonna work. So I'm gonna be
Mhm.
with family, but um, if not, I mean, I could. I mean, you can always just do one.
Yeah, I might.
I know because I've done it before. It's not fun, but it works. So just be on the lookout for that. And next week, I'm hoping that we can keep it going with at least a once a week
Yeah.
podcast. Twice a week would be ideal for what we're trying to do over the next month, but especially with the draft this month. Happy April Fool's Day, by the way. No jokes on this podcast because
April Fools, this podcast was a joke.
yeah, I'm actually just gonna delete this recording straight after
Right?
we end it.
Don't bother sending it to me.
All right, that's all I got. As I changed my Titans calendar to the Kenny Vaccaro month of April.
Mm.
So
R.I.P. R.I.P. Native Car.
last month was Corey Davis.
Ouch.
So we're not on a great streak. Next month's gonna be like Malcolm.
Right.
Actually, hold on. That would be a really weird coincidence if it is. That's okay. June is Malcolm Butler.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, hold on. If Adori's May,
If Adori's May.
it's Rashawn. We're fine.
Okay. Okay, good.
That just would have been an awful stretch of 4 months. You go from Corey to Vaccaro to Adori to Malcolm.
To Malcolm.
All right. So thank you all for watching this.
Yeah.
Instead of just listening this time, if you're
Right.
viewing on YouTube, thank you for listening. If you're on Anchor or any of our just normal podcast platforms, if we get, I mean, I'd love to see a big spike in listens. So
Oh
if you
yeah.
made it this far, thank you. We try our best to entertain you,
Mhm.
and yeah, that's about all I got. So
Yeah.
until next time, peace out.
Peace.